Right, mate, I've found the spider nest in the redwoods. So we are around about here, so it's not actually too far from our main base. And I've plonked down a little bed there just as a marker. I think I've called it spider base or something like that. Basically, you'll know you're in here, and I'm having to be careful because there's going to be thylacoleas and things like that that jump out the trees at me, I'm sure. But basically here are loads and loads of spider webs. And the entrance to the cave, there's a brood mother, lovely. There's some bats, I think, down there. There'll be little mini spiders down there. Not a nice place, but within the cave are 3 artifacts, I think. And the best way of getting into it, I'll have to check the guide. I don't know if I've actually done this cave myself. I must have done because I have done it. I've done one of them. There's bats there. Look. Oh, I don't want bats. I have done it on account of the fact that I had to get one of them. There's like dead bodies hung up. There's, what's that? Is that another? That's a nest over there of spiders that all come out, little mini ones. I have done it on account that I've done the easy boss level before. So I've got one of them, and I know one of them, I think is actually the one we want, is arguably the more straightforward one. And I think it's this direction you come into the cave. Down here. Where are we? Oh, that's a slope that leads down. Maybe it's over this way. I'll look into it the best way, but there's a way that basically gets you down. I think it's there. Well, it doesn't look like it, does it? A couple of spiders and ooh, it looks horrible. But it basically could even be in here. Something's definitely going to jump out at me in a minute. Oh, maybe not. Ah, you know what? Oh, maybe it's this way. I'll look into it, but basically there's a route in that I think avoids a lot of the spiders if we can. It's not the end of the world, but if we can avoid it, we can. But we've got a little base thing there now. This is there's some Dinopithecus, look there. Definitely get yourself one of them if you can. As you see, there's one. If you see the big thing that's fighting it, there's the glow. You can't really see it at the moment, but there is one of them. Oh, there's a little bit. It's got a bit of yellow glow around him. There you go. You can see it a bit more clearly. So there's 3 of them there fighting sheep and things like that. What you need to do is you need to kill the other 2, and then get into a fight, basically fist fight, club fight, whatever, with the one that's got the glowing thing around him. Fuel talks, they can bug off. And then you beat him into submission, and then you could, like, down to about like 80% health or something, and then you can passively tame him. And they are epic. We've got one at the other base, actually, a green one that's really cool. They leap, like they've got a massive leap on them. There's so many fuel talks like there's bugs following me there. Look. Ooh. They've got a massive leap on them. They're really quick. They're relatively strong. There's another group of them there. Look. Again, should be one. Probably is one. Something's going to attack me. To get hold of. So they're really good to have, actually. They're good sort of mounts, sort of pack mounts, I guess. I guess we could sort of breed them, or we could use our Deinonychus or something like that, and just ride around on Dinopithecus. But they're really good. They've got such a leap on them. It's mental. Like, as in, you can leap almost across lakes and bodies of water. I mean, it's mad. But basically, yeah, this is where we need to go for the other one. And some weird. I think the fog has brought on some weird clipping or something around it. It's a bit odd. What time is it? Out of interest, 6ish. Yeah, see that green one there? That one that's glowing. That's the pack leader. The others you just need to kill. Funny place the redwoods, really, isn't it? It's not as bad as the swamps, but there are. What time is it? 4 o'clock. Oh, the sun's sort of weirdly coming down. Not as bad as the swamps, but you do have things that leap out of the trees at you, them thylacolas, so just be careful of them. And you've got like things like the little bugs. So predominantly like the little ants, or the giant ants and the flying ant things. What are they called? I forgot what they're called, but you know what I mean. Funnily enough, your cinema cops actually, I think you can have him on alert. See on the right of your screen, you've got at the top half. If I pause here, use the tree as a thing. On the right of your screen, the top you've got top right, you've got obviously your bird's stamina, your bird's health, etc., etc. Obviously, in this case, the Argent I'm flying on. And then the middle one is the one I've got on my back, which I've spoken about before, I think, with the Fjord Hawk and that, the little pack. That one is the cinema crops I've got on. So it's got, so obviously it's food, it's stamina. And as it uses its stamina as you're floating around, that's why you need to make sure its kiting's really topped up, because that can easily go. And then as he's trying to replenish his stamina, his food's going down and he ends up dying out of nowhere. So just make sure you've got tons and tons of chitin in your cinema crops. But the third one down below, that's sort of like highlighted, is a scream thing. And you'll see as you're flying through, usually if you fly through the swamp, you'll see his like little wings come out and go like that. I think he makes a little noise as well. And basically he screams at and sort of scares off smaller insects and dinosaurs. I think it's Olive. And then he also scares, he can, I think, attacks them and eats them and things like that as well. So he's quite a good one to have around here. But yeah, the redwoods is a funny little place. It's just these massive, obviously, redwood trees that hide all manner of things. And you've got little things like terror birds floating around, the little irritating bastards. You have trudons floating around a bit. You'll also have a lot of passive stuff like your pteranodons. What else? You have trikes, I think, around here, bontosauruses, that sort of thing. So it's not awful. It's not as bad as the swamps, but it can be a bit of a funny old place. This fog is a nightmare. I don't actually know where I'm going. Oh, I'm in the completely wrong place. So I'm going to go back to base. So basically, God, this fog's awful. So basically, yeah, I've put a little thing down there for us, and that that spider's cave. It's big, I think, from what I remember, because there's like 3 artifacts in there. We'll definitely have to use, I think, the little Fjord Hawk trick in that, because it's it'd be a nightmare trying to get back out of. So I would we'll bring our I think I know where I'm going without using a map. I think that's the green obelisk over there in the distance. Yeah, I know where we are. I'll tell you what, it's a bit safe around here. I can float down. Yeah, we'll bring our Fjord Hawks, our beds and things like that, and we'll just spawn ourselves out rather than going into the caves, getting the things and coming all the way back out again. It'll be a pain in the arse. It'll take ages. But I think we do the temple run first. Then we think about doing. Then we think about doing the spider cave. We're going to have to go and prep. I think, I mean, it's got bats in there. It's got little spiders, certainly at the start. Your standard kind of cave dwelling creatures, really. The giant, like centipede things. I forget what they're called. I think it's got some snakes in there. It's not a nice cave, I'll be honest. But we're solid enough, and I think we can bring certain mounts, certain dinos in with us. It might be even that if we can make a few more cryopods, we bring in some of the the Deinonychus and things like that we've got, and we take them down as like a little pack that can just sort of follow us around. And help us take on the things like the bats and the bugs and things like that. That might be a plan. So it might be worth, if we can make some. I think we can make some of the cryopods. We make them at. You can find some in loot drops, and you can make them at the loot drops themselves if you put the ingredients into them. there'll be two little folders in there. Usually when you don't take all the stuff out of a loot drop straight away, if this is what you want to do, I mean. Don't take it all out straight away. I'll try and, there's not a loot drop near me, is there? I'm going to try and show you an example of what I mean. But basically, as you go into the loot drop, check that it's got enough time on it. The time is obviously denoted by the out of 100. I can't remember what increments it goes down, as in it goes down by 10 every time, but I can't remember what that relates to time-wise. But as long as you've got like sort of 40, 50, 60 in there, if you go there with all the ingredients, I can't remember what ingredients you need, I'll have to look it up. But basically the same as if you were crafting something, so put the ingredients into the loot crate, click on the little folder and it will give you some options of, I think you can do a cryo fridge and a cryo pod you can make from the loot drops. Obviously we want to make some cryo pods because we've got a cryo fridge, so we'll make a few. We've got a few, but if we want to take like a little army, plus we'll probably need it for when we eventually get our T-Rex army and all that, and we take it to the main terminals to then take on the bosses further down the line. So we're going to need the cryopod. I mean, you can do it by foot, but cryopod will be a lot easier. There's a Deinopithecus there, look. If I'll give you an example of what I mean. He's pretty quick, and his leap is massive. So, he can swim as well, actually, funnily enough. But, yeah, if you pop that in there, we'll get some cryopods. And I think it just might be worth taking down. His stamina's quite good, actually. So I'm going to jump the whole building. Oh, look at that. Oh, blimey. I mean, I would say this is overpowered, this Deinopithecus, in terms of its jump. It's nuts. Completely overpowered. You can also, if I pick up feces, you can put it in him, and he can either throw feces or grenades. That's that. How do I do this? Oh, there you go. It's L2, and then is it L2? One of these two. What am I doing? Oh, that you can stomp the ground. I don't really know what that does. Oh, it's L2 and then R2 to throw it. I've just thrown it at my snow owl. But basically, yeah, you can put grenades and things like that into him. But yeah, sorry mate, I've gone way off piece there. So yeah, we'll get some cryopods, and I think it might be worth taking down to the cave when we do the spider run. I think that if we take some Deinocus in with us, even ones we can sacrifice, we've got an army over here of a fair few, I think, and they're pretty strong from what I remember. I've got to pump some what do you call it, level ups into them. We've got what, one, where's your Lystrus? If you pet your Lystrus doodah, for X amount of time, 5 minutes or something it might be, he will help add boost to any creatures within his proximity, which is quite cool. But yeah, so it's level, I got 22, level 55, and there's 22 points to put into him, and we've got a few of them there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are pretty badass. Plus, we've got the two people that we'll be mating from anyway, who are over here, which I haven't turned mating back on yet. But basically, we've got enough, and I think they're not a bad size to take down to the caves, so that might be an option to take down just to give us a bit of added protection when we're down there. We can focus on taking out the bats, they can take out the bugs, and we can sort of work our way through, really. But yeah, that's basically where the cave is, so it's the spider's nest bit. 3 artifacts in there. We're a bit off getting there yet, I think, for doing it. I think we do the temple run next. I think you want to give that, I think on my other video I showed you with the Wyvern Trench, if you want to give that a go and pick your own artifact up there, the Skylar one, because that's an easy solo run, that one, which is quite good. But we've already got that artifact. If you don't want to, we've already got it up here. Anyway, I think we've got a couple of them, because I think when I went down to get it last time, I did a thing for, that's your Field Hawk. So it's this one here, this artifact of Skylord. And there's space there for another one. I think we've got, oh, I'll put the other one, spare one we've got in here. And then we've got 2 of these, so they're fine. So yeah, mate, I think that's the plan. That's what I would say, is I would give the Wyvern one a go. Get yourself over to the other base and have a little check out of the temple one, and then we'll eventually build up to that spider's nest. As I say, it's a bit of a way off yet, but once we've got that, we'll have all the artifacts we need. We've got pretty much, in fact, actually, while we're down there, we might even come across some Titanoboas, kill them and get their venom. We pretty much got all the artifacts, and then we've got everything we need to open up the arena for the bosses. But we need an army to take down there. So in between all that, we need to look at getting ourselves preferably some Rexes. I think will be the best for it. And we'll get a Uteranus each as well, because they're really good for taking around. But yeah, a few things to do, mate. But as I say, I would, if I were you, give them runs a go, and then we'll go from there.